Kashmir is the unfinished agenda of partition of subcontinent and the longest outstanding unresolved dispute on UN agenda. After independence of India and Pakistan in 1947, India, disregarding the principles of division, invaded Kashmir in October 1947 and forcefully occupied a big chunk of Kashmir, today known as Indian-occupied Kashmir. The locals retaliated to Indian offensive and succeeded in liberating some part of it, known as Azad Kashmir, facing defeat at the hand of local forces. India took the matter to UN. Till now, 18 resolutions granting right to self-determination to Kashmiris have been passed in United Nations. India also accepted the resolutions and promised to hold a plebiscite and declared that future of Kashmir will be decided as per the wishes of people of Kashmir. To strengthen its illegal occupation, India turned the region as the highest militarized zone by deploying over 700,000 troops in the valley. On August 5, 2019, India unilaterally scrapped constitutional guarantees on Indian-occupied Kashmir, that is Article 370 and 35A of Indian Constitution, through an illegal presidential decree, declaring Jammu and Kashmir as part of India, and deployed additional troops, making a total of around 100,000 troops in Kashmir. Facing a backlash from Kashmiris, Indian authorities imposed curfew, shut down all communication means including internet, mobile phones, electronic and print media, banning entry of free media personnel in the valley, resulting in complete information blackout. After abrogation of Article 370 and 35A from Indian Constitution, India intends to change the demography in Kashmir. As a colonial power, its strong wish is to start immediately colonization of Hindus in Kashmir and make it a Hindu-dominated area. Human rights abuses in Indian-occupied Kashmir are on the increase. The abuses range from the mass killings, enforced disappearances, torture, rape, and sexual abuse to political repression and suppression and clamp down on freedom of speech. At the end of July 2019, India sent 145,000 soldiers in Jammu and Kashmir, in addition to 700,000 army personnel already deployed in Kashmir, along with 30,000 BSF, 45,000 CRPF, 3 regiments of special forces, 30,000 of extremist Hindu, and 85,000 Jammu and Kashmir police personnel. With round about 1 million Indian security forces, Indian Army imposed curfew in Kashmir and enforced complete lockdown in the valley. Military boots are seen everywhere. Now Kashmir is a region with high concentration of troops. With the present deployment of troops there is 1 soldier for every 10 Kashmiris.
That little valley is the highest, most militarized zone in the world. India has done everything wrong there. Apart from a military occupation, it has completely rigged elections. It has changed that valley into a little sort of puddle, a little pool of spies and informers and intelligence networks and torture chambers. And today, it's come to a stage where people have just had enough. But the government still is quite busy trying to manage the crisis.
The ethnic cleansing campaign, including unlawful confinement, is throughout controlled by Indian Army, targeting Muslims of Jammu and Kashmir. The presence of 10 lakh Indian Army, along with their enormous transport vehicles, medium and heavy artillery, tanks, setting up military camps in schools, colleges, sports grounds, government buildings, is busy in occupation of public and agricultural land. They are everywhere in villages, towns and cities.
There's a sense of imprisonment, there's a sense of being in prison.
Because it is basically radicalizing the population, marginalizing the moderate elements who are now in jail and looking a little bit foolish because they were trying to tell people that we can trust the Indian government, but now they have been in jail themselves.
यूरोपियन यूनियन का डेलीगेशन आया था, उन्होंने in my presence कहा है कि हाँ ये जम्मू कश्मीर जो है ब्यूटीफुल प्रिजन है, ये खूबसूरत जेल है। यहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा जो आर्मड फोर्सेस की कंसंट्रेशन है ग्लोबल लेवल पे सबसे ज़्यादा यहाँ है।
Forests, not only near the populated area but especially along the line of control, are filled with Indian Army, their weapons and vehicles. The army has converted meadows and forests into firing ranges. When they carry out firing practices, fire of guns, tanks, and other weapons, they leave unexploded bombs and rockets, and also throw toy bombs which later kill animals and humans, especially children.
You have incidents where people enter into the field firing range, tinkering with live ammunition, causing death and injuries. So it is an emotional issue.
ये भाई बहन दोनों खेल रहे थे, स्कूल उस दिन ये नहीं गए, मंडे था शायद, दिन था ये भाई बहन खेल रहे थे, इनमें पता नहीं कहाँ से हाथ में आ गए, घर पहुँचे, वहाँ पे घर के सामने इनका ये ब्लास्ट हो गया।
डॉक्टर ने बोला मुझे वो ये चाहिए जो मैं जैसे साइकिल चला सकूं। मैंने बोला हाँ मैं बना लूँगा, आप रुको।
Report of encroachment in Dal Lake and illegal structure in Tosa Maidan and Doda Patri surfaced after the massive military deployments. It also resulted in pollution and filthiness in famous tourist resorts and lakes as Dal Lake in Srinagar and Pahalgam. Large-scale poaching of rare species like ibex, blue sheep, snow leopards and the bighorn sheep is on the increase. Forest is being cut and water bodies are filled for buildings. Most encroachment is on the bank of river Jhelum and around 500,000 full-grown trees were cut down in a single forest in Budgam. They also use forest as an artillery range, converting them into military garrison. Similarly, presence of military in glacier areas is also causing reduction of glaciers.
That has all sorts of implications for forestry, for horticulture, for growing of crops, and of course on top of that you have the changing temperature itself, which also changes the behaviour of crops, as does the increase of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere.
It's not accidental, it is the fact that, the target is really Kashmiris and Kashmiri Muslims in particular. So this is basically Modi's way of distracting from the large-scale problems that continue to plague India under his rule. Environmentally, it's a disaster. It is the heart of climate change. The Indian subcontinent is at the heart of climate change, and there's nothing that's being done about it. And instead, Modi and the BJP are giving the supporters something to feel triumphant about by seeing the Kashmiris basically being turned into prisoners in their own home.
Due to state terrorism of Indian Army, recent wave of harassment and imposition of curfew, the social life of Kashmiris is badly affected. The environment of harassment, fear, uncertainty led to distress, frustration, and sense of deprivation.